My stepmother stood on the front porch with my suitcase. She smiled as she handed me my old house key. "It doesn't work anymore," she said. "I changed every lock. This isn't your home now." I looked past her at the house where I'd spent my entire childhood. Every birthday, every Christmas, every memory was inside. I quietly turned around and left. I didn't argue. I didn't beg. 6 months later, I drove past the house one last time. There was a huge sold sign in the front yard. I smiled sadly and kept driving. Then someone called my name. A man I'd never seen before stood on the porch. "You must be Hannah." I froze. "How do you know my name?" He smiled. "I bought this house last week, and the previous owner left something for you." He opened the front door. Everything changed after that. "My name is Hannah. My mother passed away when I was 15. 2 years later, my father married Karen. At first, she was polite, but after Dad became seriously ill, everything changed. She slowly removed every trace of my mother from the house. The family photos disappeared. My mother's paintings vanished. Even the old piano she loved was donated without asking me. Dad noticed some of it, but he was too sick to stop it. When he passed away, Karen wasted no time. Within 2 weeks, she changed the locks and told me I was no longer welcome. The house legally belonged to her. There was nothing I could do. I packed my belongings and started over in a small apartment across town. It hurt, but I refused to let bitterness control my life. I worked hard, built my career, and slowly moved forward. 6 months later, I happened to drive through my old neighborhood. The house was for sale. A week after that, it was sold. I thought that chapter of my life had finally ended. Until the new owner called me from the porch. "My name is David," he said. "The woman who sold me this house mentioned your name. Before closing, I found a locked wooden box in the attic. She said it belonged to the previous family. I think it belongs to you." He invited me inside. Walking through those rooms again was emotional. Everything looked different, but the memories were still there. David handed me the wooden box. The key was taped underneath it. Inside were dozens of family photographs. My mother's handwritten recipes, my childhood drawings, and a sealed envelope with my father's handwriting. My hands started shaking. The letter read, "Hannah, if you're reading this, life didn't go the way I hoped. No matter where you live, this house was never the most important part of your childhood. These memories are. Protect them, and never let anger steal your future." I couldn't stop crying. For years, I believed everything from my childhood had been lost forever. Instead, the most meaningful pieces had survived. David quietly said, "I almost threw the box away during renovations. I'm glad I didn't." I thanked him with tears in my eyes. That day, I realized something. Karen had taken the house, but she couldn't erase my family. She couldn't erase my parents' love. And she certainly couldn't erase my memories. Sometimes, the greatest thing you recover isn't property, it's the part of yourself you thought you'd lost. I left that house carrying one small wooden box. It weighed almost nothing, but to me, it was worth more than the house itself. My stepmother changed every lock. Then she threw my childhood house key onto the porch. She smiled and said, "You don't belong here anymore." My father had been gone for only 12 days. I picked up my suitcase, looked at the house one last time, and walked away without saying a single word. She thought she'd erased me from that home forever. 6 months later, she sold the house to a complete stranger. What she didn't know, the new owner found something hidden in the attic, something my father had left behind. When he called me, I finally walked back through that front door. And after what we found, my stepmother wished she had never sold the house.